Hi everyone, welcome to this new lecture, and in the last lecture we discussed some of the factors that influence the network TPS, and in this particular lecture we are going to run the benchmark against our network, see whether how much TPS we are getting, and in the subsequent lecture then we are going to update the certain properties of the channel in order to achieve the higher TPS. So first what I'll do, we'll have to just run the caliper benchmark. So what we'll do, I already have our network running. Let me show you. So I have a network with 3 organizations. So I have org1, org2 and org3 and one ordinary org. So in total 4 organizations, out of which 3 are the peer organization and 1 is the ordinary organization. And this is having one test channel that we have already using in the previous lectures as well. And now I'll run the benchmark test. So before this, let me do some, so I'll have to update on the caliper side, like I'll have to update the certificates. So let me just quickly update them. So here I have to give the sign certificate. Let me open this side by side. So I need to give the admin sign certificate here. Let me just copy it and let it here. And then I'll give the private key as well. And I have to also give the TLS-CS certificate, so I can get it from the peers. And I'll finally give the peer node endpoint. Okay, so this file is updated, and I'll quickly update the network file as well, network.yaml. Again, I have to give the signed certificates. So I'll copy the signed certificate and the corresponding key as well. And then let's give the key here as well. Okay. So one change I have done in this particular test is, so I'll show you. We have updated the configuration file, like the certificates. And one additional change that I have done in the invoke.js is that now, if you see, I am not using the way which I was generating up the asset IDs. Rather, I'm using a package called UUID. So this is the package that I have installed. So I'll show you the package.json as well. So this is the package that I have added, UUID. And what I am doing here is, I'm just simply generating up the UUID plus the worker index as asset ID, so that my asset IDs are always unique and I don't get the conflicts. One more change that I have done is in the benchmark configuration. So if we go to the benchmark, now I have commented this get assets benchmark test, because I'm more interested in the create asset, where I'm creating up the records into the ledger. And I have just changed the fixed rate to the linear rate. And then here I've changed the transactions from 3,000 to 10,000. I can show you the diff as well. So this is the diff in the benchmark configuration. So these are the properties that I have updated. Like I've just simply commented this piece and added the rate control as linear rate, starting with 200 TPS and going till I think 450. Yeah. And then the number of transactions as well added to 10,000. And then the number of workers are again 10 workers. So now let me quickly run this benchmark. So I'll copy the instructions from here. And let me run this command. So my packages are getting installed, and once these packages are installed, then we can run a benchmark with 10,000 transactions. And so in the next lecture, we are going to update the batch time, and then we'll run the benchmark again. Okay, So the dependencies are there, and now I can simply run the command, which is going to run the benchmark. Okay, so my benchmark has started, and here we can see that all the workers are ready, and then they'll start sending up the transactions. So here we can see that the transactions are getting submitted, and we'll get a final report. So this process will take some time because we are sending up 10,000 transaction. That will take some time. So once this is done, then I'll see you back. Okay, so this test is done, and here we can see that while doing a create asset uh, function, we send 10,000 transactions. The send rate was 265, which means that we are sending 265 transactions per second. And then the throughput that came up was 257, which is the TPS that we actually got. So this is again a good TPS, I would say, for 10,000 transactions, and the total time it took, I think it doesn't show us the total time, but this process was quite quick, right? We can do one more time. We can just run the benchmark one more time. Let's run the benchmark one more time. So again, we are sending up 10,000 transactions, and let's see what TPS we get this time. Okay, so this time as well, we send 10,000 transaction. The send rate was 266, and the TPS that we got was 257. So we ran two tests, and in both the tests, we roughly got 257 TPS. And in the next lecture, we are simply going to update the batch time property, and we'll see whether it's actually helping us in getting up the higher TPS or not. So this was it for this lecture, and I'll see you in the next one.